upon me. That's the cry from many of today's youth. All they need is someone who cares, who listens and offer advice when the time arises. Without that attention, some may turn to illegal activities during their latter years. A group of agencies spearheaded by the Ministry of Education, Training and Employment has answered the call. They've implemented the behavior and educational support model designed to identify and assist Cayman's at-risk youth.
The best model is the Ministry's new approach to dealing with at-risk youth. For a long time, we have had young people who have challenges in their lives being dealt with in different ways by different people and different agencies across government. So they may be treated one way by their teacher and their school system. They may be treated in a slightly different way by social services, might be a slightly different way by juvenile court if they wound up going that far in the process. What we now have is a multi-agency approach in which a student is at the center of the treatment model, and we're ensuring that all the relevant agencies within government are brought to bear in their particular case depending on their individual needs. And so in doing that, we ensure that the student gets exposed to all of the treatment, all of the consideration necessary to ensure that their behavior and their social setting isn't going to define their success or failure within our education system.
So, who's an at-risk youth?
Our definition is quite simple. It's any student who is at risk for underachieving and not meeting their full potential. And so what the best model is going to do is ensure that as we look at all the conditions surrounding that student, whether they be internal to the student, do the student have some form of learning disability? Do the student have some form of drug use problem? Or something that's external to the student? Is it simply their home environment? Is it their community environment? Whatever it is, we're going to ensure that the various agencies of government are brought to bear on the treatment model for that student, and ensuring that we provide all the necessary services to take that student from being at risk to one that is treated, to bring them back on the side of having every opportunity to maximize their potential.
BEST, or the Behavior and Educational Support Team, is a group of public and private sector service providers headed by a ministry-appointed program coordinator.
We have many young people in our system that ultimately takes part in many different agencies. However, many of our agencies don't know that they're treating the same child. Well, my role brings those agencies together. Education, Department of Children and Family Services, Counseling Services, etc., etc. Once a child is identified as being at risk or needing additional resources, all of those resources is coordinated that everybody in all of these agencies are working in tandem to address the child and family's issues. When a child is identified, part of what needs to happen is that once the agencies have been identified with the necessary interventions, then we sit down and we map out a treatment plan for the child and their family. So it could come down to, does the child need counseling? Check. The child needs counseling. Does the child need an educational assessment? Check. Does the family need Children and Family Services intervention? Check. Does the child need a sports program, a youth program? Check, check. All of these folks are going to be in the same room, and our responsibility is to simultaneously deliver those resources. I believe that there's a lot of people in this country that want help. What I have found is that there are many parents who don't know that there are these services out there.
Program completion could occur at any time for participating youngsters.
For me, success for these students will be any student who, once we've done their entire evaluation, met the criteria to be on this model of treatment. But in a short period of time, we can have them reassess that they no longer need to participate. We want to ensure that students can get out of this treatment cycle as quickly as possible. Because if we've done that, that means that we've really addressed all of their barriers for learning and barriers for success.
If you know a child who may benefit from this program, contact Michael Miles using the email address or number on your screen.